The morning sun filtered through the towering glass windows of Rockefeller Center, casting a golden glow over the bustling set of Today with Jenna and Friends. It was just another crisp autumn day in New York City, the kind where the air hummed with anticipation and the faint scent of fresh coffee mingled with the excitement of live television. Jenna Bush Hager, radiant in a tailored emerald green blouse that accentuated her warm smile and effortless poise, adjusted her microphone as the show's theme music swelled. At 43, Jenna had become the quintessential morning host, part storyteller, part confidant, with a laugh that could disarm even the grumpiest guest and eyes that sparkled with genuine curiosity. Her co-hosts, a lively ensemble of rotating friends from the entertainment world, including comedian Will Arnett and lifestyle guru Joanna Gaines, flanked her on the colorful modern couch, their chatter light and teasing as they wrapped up a segment on fall fashion trends. The audience, a mix of studio loyalists and wide-eyed tourists clutching their complimentary mugs, applauded enthusiastically, their energy feeding the electric atmosphere. Cameras panned smoothly across the set, capturing the polished chaos. Interns darting with cue cards, producers whispering into headsets, and the ever-present hum of the control room just beyond the lights. As the laughter from Blake's goat story faded into polite applause, Jenna shifted gears with the grace of a seasoned interviewer, her smile unwavering but her eyes alight with a spark of mischief that her closest friends recognized as the prelude to a deeper dive. "Blake, we love the new album. Oklahoma Dust is already my go-to for those early morning drives. But let's talk about the man behind the music. You've been so open about your life lately, from your marriage to Gwen to stepping away from The Voice after all those seasons. Fans are buzzing about your, let's say, evolving views on things like politics and culture. What is really on your mind these days?" The question hung in the air like smoke from a just-extinguished campfire, innocent on the surface but laced with implications that made Blake's easy posture stiffen imperceptibly. He uncrossed his legs, planting both boots firmly on the floor, his fingers drumming a slow rhythm on his knee, a telltale sign to those who knew him that the charm offensive was on defense. The audience quieted, sensing the pivot from fluff to something meatier, their faces a mosaic of curiosity and faint unease. In the control room, a producer murmured into her headset, "Keep it rolling, this could be gold." Blake's blue eyes narrowed just a fraction, but his voice remained steady, that drawl wrapping around his words like barbed wire disguised as velvet. "Well, Jenna, life's too short for filters, ain't it? I've said my piece on social media, backin' what I believe. Hard work, family values, keepin' America country. Ain't about party lines, it's about standin' up for what's right, even if it ruffles feathers." Jenna nodded encouragingly, tilting her head in that empathetic way that had endeared her to viewers since her days co-hosting with Hoda Kotb, but there was a glint in her eye, a subtle challenge born from her own Texas roots and the progressive leanings she'd cultivated in the spotlight. The pivot from playful probing to pointed confrontation happened in the blink of an eye, but to those watching, it unfolded like a slow-motion car crash. Mesmerizing, inevitable, and utterly devastating. Blake's face, usually a canvas of affable ruggedness, hardened into lines etched by years of spotlight scrutiny and personal battles. The divorces that tabloids devoured, the voice rivalries that tested his loyalty, the quiet nights on his Oklahoma ranch where he'd stare at the stars and question if the fame was worth the fray. Now, those stars seemed to dim under the studio lights as Jenna's words, "woke cowboys," echoed his own ill-fated tweet, a off-the-cuff post from a whiskey-fueled evening that had spiraled into a PR nightmare. He'd meant it as a jab at performative activism in Nashville, but to many, including Jenna's circle, it smacked of dismissal toward genuine progress. "You think that is what this is?" Blake shot back, his voice rising like a crescendo in one of his ballads, the drawl thickening with emotion. "I've donated millions to farmers hit by floods, mentored kids from broken homes on The Voice. That's real, Jenna, not some tweet storm. You're sittin' there, pretty as a picture, slingin' shade from your ivory tower, forgettin' we both came from dirt roads." The audience shifted uneasily, a woman in the front row clutching her program, her excitement curdling into shock. Cameras zoomed in tight, capturing the beads of sweat glistening on Blake's forehead, the way his large hands clenched into fists before relaxing with visible effort. Jenna, no stranger to high-stakes moments, having weathered family scandals and her own on-air gaffes, felt a surge of defensiveness, her empathy warring with indignation. She thought of her father's legacy, the wars and decisions that haunted her public life, and how she'd carved her own path advocating for literacy and mental health, often clashing with conservative kin. Chaos erupted in the heartbeat following Jenna's plea for accountability, the studio transforming from a haven of hospitality into a battlefield of bruised egos and unspoken resentments. Blake, his face flushed crimson under the unforgiving lights, slammed a hand on the armrest. Not hard enough to break anything, but enough to send a jolt through the set, papers fluttering like startled birds and a water glass teetering precariously on the edge of the coffee table. This place? This ain't a place for truth. It's a circus, he bellowed, his Oklahoma twang cracking with raw fury, veins standing out on his neck like rivers on a map. The audience gasped, a collective intake that sucked the oxygen from the room. Several viewers already fumbling for their phones to live tweet the meltdown. Jenna, her composure fracturing like fine china under pressure, stepped forward, hands outstretched in a gesture of supplication that belied the steel in her voice. Blake, please, sit down. We're live. Millions are watching. This isn't you. But it was him, distilled to his core, the stubborn rancher who'd walked away from Nashville deals that didn't sit right, the coach who'd fought for underdogs on national TV, now fighting for his narrative against a woman he once admired from afar. Memories flashed for both, Blake recalling a gala where Jenna had complimented his cover of a George Strait tune, her laugh genuine. Jenna thinking of fan letters praising their shared Southern authenticity, now poisoned. The co-hosts mobilized in vain. Will Arnett, ever the improviser, stood and placed a hand on Blake's shoulder. Whoa, big guy, let's breathe, think of the goats. But Blake shrugged it off, his eyes locked on Jenna like a bull eyeing a matador. Joanna Gaines, tears welling in her eyes, whispered to a producer off mic, "This is breaking my heart," while stagehands froze mid-task, brooms and clipboards forgotten. In the immediate aftermath, as the commercial break's black screen shielded the raw wound from viewers, the studio pulsed with a frantic energy that bordered on hysteria. Whispers cascading like dominoes, from the lighting techs high above to the makeup artists clustered near the couches. Jenna retreated to her dressing room, the door clicking shut with a finality that echoed her churning thoughts. Had she pushed too far? Was it the tweet, or something deeper, like the unspoken rivalry between country authenticity and coastal polish? She splashed water on her face, the cool droplets tracing paths down her cheeks, mingling with unshed tears, while her assistant hovered with tissues and a fresh blouse. "You okay, Jenna?" "That was intense," the young woman said softly, and Jenna nodded, mustering a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Just doing my job, holding the mirror up, you know." But doubt crept in, memories of her father's media skirmishes advising caution. She'd always prided herself on being the bridge builder, not the demolisher. Meanwhile, Blake paced the green room like a caged panther, his long strides eating up the space, phone vibrating incessantly with messages from his team. Damage control now. He ignored them, instead firing off a text to Gwen, screwed up big time. "Call me," before sinking into a chair, the leather creaking under his weight. The room, adorned with bouquets from past guests and a mini-fridge stocked with energy drinks, felt claustrophobic, the air thick with the scent of his cologne and regret. Security lingered outside, their radios a low buzz, while a producer knocked tentatively. "Blake, we need to talk, off the record." He waved them off gruffly, "Tell him to kiss my ass," but softer to himself, "Should have walked sooner." The network's legal eagles convened in a glass-walled conference room overlooking the plaza, laptops flipping open to draft statements, weighing apology versus denial. Days blurred into a whirlwind for both Blake and Jenna as the fallout cascaded across media landscapes. From TMZ splash pages to late-night monologues where Jimmy Fallon replayed sanitized clips with exaggerated sound effects, turning tragedy into punchline. Blake retreated to his 1,300-acre Oklahoma spread, the Tishomingo Hills rolling like a bomb to his battered spirit, where the lowing of cattle and rustle of wind through pecans drowned out the echo of his outburst. He and Gwen holed up in the main house, a sprawling log cabin with stone fireplaces and walls lined with platinum records, spending evenings on the porch swing, her head on his shoulder as they dissected the debacle. "You were protecting your truth," she soothed, her voice a melody of understanding, while Blake nursed a beer, staring at fireflies. "But truth without grace? That's just noise." He nodded, the weight lifting slightly as he drafted a public apology on Instagram. Simple, heartfelt. Got heated on at today's show, respect to Jenna Bush Hager for calling it like she sees it. Disagreements make us better. Stream, Oklahoma Dust. If you're still with me. It garnered millions of likes, fans flooding comments with forgiveness and fire emojis. His streams surging as the controversy converted skeptics. Jenna, meanwhile, powered through Today tapings, her smile brighter, perhaps in defiance, but late nights found her journaling in her Manhattan apartment, city lights twinkling like judgmental stars.